Hey everybody, this is me, Daniel Hutchins, and today we are spitting out the videos today for one of the last days of the month of August. So this is still the 31st of August, but I have to figure out if I'm doing videos of that or not. But anyway, for today's article, we are doing it from our friends Screen Rant. So today from Screen Rant, we're going to be talking about Scarlett Witch. Yep, Scarlett Witch. Otherwise, I call her Scarlett Bitch. Because, like I said in one of my prior videos, I kind of don't really like her as much. Because I think her Disney Plus series was a little bit overrated. That's just my opinion, but you could argue about that in the comment if you want. But anyway, Doctor Strange's Spider-Man mistake has made Scarlet Witch look even more powerful. Well, we already know she's powerful. There's no doubt about that. You see what she did in Endgame and Infinity War. But Doctor Strange's Marvelous Cinematic Universe mistake in Spider-Man No Way Home has opened the multiverse and has made Scarlet Witch even more powerful. Like, she already is powerful, man. So what the hell? Okay, so Doctor Strange makes the catastrophic mistake from Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, resulting in Scarlet Witch looking more powerful and badass than ever. In Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter Parker, Tom Holland, turns to Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch, for help after everyone learns his secret Spider-Man identity. Well, everybody knows Spider-Man's secret identity from the last movie, so Doctor Strange's solution is performing a memory wipe spell, which would grant Spider-Man his anomaly bag. However, this spell is dangerous, and his assistant, Wong, warns Strange against it. Strange forges ahead anyway, but Parker tries to alter the spell so his friends don't forget his superhero alter ego. And things go amiss. Unfortunately, the spell is backfired, and the multiverse gets unleashed. Various villains from the past Spider-Man films are set free to wreak havoc in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Wanda Maximoff, we know, as played by Elizabeth Olsen, reaches her final form as Scarlet Witch from WandaVision, if you remember. During her series, she grieves over the death of Vision, Paul Bettany, which accidentally results in a powerful burst of chaos magic. Though she doesn't know exactly how she did it, Wanda ends up bringing back Vision and holding an entire town hostage in a world of sitcom nostalgia. Now, the magic is so powerful it attracts Agatha Harkness, played by Kathryn Hahn, an ancient witch who plans to steal Wanda's powers. But in the long run, Wanda defeats Harkness and rightfully takes her place as one of the most powerful characters in Marvel Cinematic Universe. Related to this article is No Way Home Easter eggs spoil Tobey Maguire's return. Theory explained. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about someone else. So, Strange's spell makes Wanda look even stronger. In WandaVision, Scarlet Witch holds the town of Westview hostage for weeks. Her magic creates whole new identities for the entire community. She doesn't even know how exactly she did it. But in comparison, Doctor Strange's attempt at wiping memories is relatively pathetic. Regardless of how successful his spells are in film, whipping a hole in this multiverse and releasing Spider-Man villains from the past wasn't what the intent was. But yes, Parker interferes with Strange's spell, but that's not any excuse to blame, because Strange's miscues show just how powerful Wanda is become. Okay, even before Strange's spell, there were hints that Wanda was more powerful. In Avengers Infinity War, Doctor Strange battles Thanos, played by Josh Brolin, eventually losing and giving up the Time Stone. Well, he did give the Time Stone, stupid. So anyway, in Avengers Endgame, Wanda also battles Thanos, nearly killing him by herself. Thanos eventually orders an airstrike to help him with the situation, but Wanda could have ripped him apart herself. But then in WandaVision, Harkness notes that Scarlet Witch has even more power than Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme. Wanda has successfully created new lives for people while Strange struggles to wipe memories forever, which proves her magical superiority. Okay. Of course, other factors are also at play in creating the multiverse besides Strange's Spider-Man No Way Home misfire, and Loki, Lady Loki, played by Sophia Di Martino, kills He Who Remains, played by Jonathan Majors, thus destroying the sacred timeline and opening the MCU to branch realities. Additional to this, Wanda may have opened up the multiverse by fully embracing her power as Scarlet Witch. There's even this theory that's going around that the endings of Loki and WandaVision sync up to show they both impacted the future of Marvel. But still, if Wanda opened the multiverse, it was because she became more powerful. It's not because she made a colossal fox paws like Strange. Okay, so there's your information about how Doctor Strange's spell has kind of misfired and has made Wanda even more stronger. Okay, but now we are switching gears and we are going to be doing some bonuses. We're going to be doing a few bonuses actually. Now we're going to be talking about Zack Snyder, the director from DC Extended Universe. Okay, here from Screen Rant. But here are which stories need a Zack Snyder adaptation next. Now, we know Zack Snyder is the best known director for his ultra-stylist and epic comic book adaptation, and these are stories Snyder needs to adapt after Rebel Moon. Well, some of you guys might not have heard about Rebel Moon. It actually is a project that he's been currently trying to work with, but this was from yesterday. After Zack Snyder's Netflix hit Army of the Dead, here are stories and myths Snyder needs to adapt next. These stories will have to wait until Snyder is finished with the current projects from his windows, which include the Army of the Dead animated series spin-off, the sci-fi movie Rebel Moon, and retelling of King Arthur myth set in the Old West. Potential adaptations of Ayn Rand's 1943 novel and the Fountainhead Rand's novel will be made to digression from Snyder's usual bombastic stories. More so than that, it will only be the second book he has adapted following The Legend of the Guardians and The Owls of Ga'Hoole in 2010. Interestingly enough, Army of the Dead is one of the few Zack Snyder films that is not based on some sort of pre-existent IP. Instead, it is based solely on a story conceived by Snyder. This would be easy to overlook, though, for some, but considering it looks and it feels exactly like the sort of story Snyder's crafted his reputation around. In fact, comic books and graphic novels have served as the main primary source of inspiration for majorities of his films, and other films in the universe as well. But the remainder of his filmography includes his remake of Dawn of the Dead and multiple DC comic book adaptations. Even the film that arguably truly launched his career, 300, is an adaptation of the graphic novel. All things considered, Zack Snyder's filmography is relatively short though, but he still managed to establish a career around his highly stylized and unique brand of filmmaking. Related to this article is every Mark Millar comic book adaptation ranked from worst to best. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about someone else. So this highly stylized filmmaking has made Snyder the ideal candidate to adapt graphic novel-based properties. He has an amazing ability to create moments within his films that feel as if comic book panels were coming to life on the screen. These scenes are the results of Snyder's work with slow motion framing and ability to direct epic action sequence. With the distinct style in mind, there are several stories ripe for Snyder to turn to next big blockbuster hits. While many of the comic book stories deserve their moment on big screen, there are also those which seem uniquely suited for Snyder's gritty, hyper-realistic approach. First on the list is Wanted. Okay, so some may recall the 2008 film Wanted, which starred Angelina Jolie and James McAvoy. Though it was based on Mark Millar's comic, it unfortunately stayed far from its source material. The film did maintain a core concept from the comics, but failed to capture the scales of the series. The original miniseries by Miller was about a nobody who learns he's an heir to a supervillain society that secretly rules the world. Now this protagonist trains as a costumed assassin and takes his place as the feared supervillain, choosing to a somebody rather than a nobody. Some have considered Wanted to be a retrospective of villains in a comic book universe. In the same way, Watchmen's reflected in what is meant to be heroes. Therefore, it would be the perfect bookend to Snyder's Watchmen adaptation, because there's already been a movie about Watchmen. Next would be the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Okay, so the second book series that deserves a Zack Snyder adaptation is the famous story that Alan Moore's The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Though a film of the same name, starring Sean Connery, was released in 2003, this loose-end film failed to capitalize on Moore's popular work. It currently sits with a measly 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, for those unfamiliar with their story, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen features a secret task force of famous literary characters, including Captain Nemo, the Invisible Man, Alan Quatermain, Mina Harker, and Dr. Jekyll. Together they must save London from Moriarty and the famous Sherlock Holmes villain. It would be perfect for Snyder to be able to do this because essentially it's a literary version of the Justice League. It's not hard to imagine Snyder crafting his epic trilogy and diving into some rich backstories for various characters. Next on the list is the Titanomachy. Okay, the Titanomachy represents a vital part of Greek mythology, and yet many may be unfamiliar with this legendary event. Now, this Greek myth tells the story of an ancient war between the Titans, the old gods, and the Olympians led by Zeus. It was during this 10-year war that Zeus received the famous thunderbolts. He overthrew his Titan father Cronus with the help of his siblings. Though many Greek myths have been adapted, this means that it's a relatively untouched source of inspiration. More so over than that, Snyder has a history of using Greek mythology and history represented from the innovative adaptations of 300 and the Gods in Justice League, which features several gods facing off the young Darkseid. Just imagine the entire film based on sequences like the epic battle. Related to this article is Justice League Every Old God Who's Helped Defeat Darkseid. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about someone else. But the story of Theseus is next. With Zack Snyder's affection for Greek mythology clear in the belts, the story of Theseus is another myth that needs a Snyder adaptation. Similar to some of the ways of Hercules, it tells the tale of Theseus, the son of Poseidon, his attempt to claim the right to the heir on the throne of Athens. Now, along his way, Theseus is confronted by great obstacles and must defeat the legendary Minotaur in the labyrinth. Now, comparative to previous films like Clash of the Titans, Wrath of the Titans, the reboot of Clash of the Titans, which featured the demigod Perseus, Theseus' story would have the makings blockbuster action adventures. Thus, Snyder was perfectly suited for an adaptation of this scale. Now, additional to this, it would allow him to play with the themes of identity, loss, perseverance, which frequently appear from his movies. Next on the list is Neverwhere. Written by Neil Gaiman in 1996, the Neverwhere novelization expanded the scopes of Gaiman's story, which aired as a miniseries on BBC. It follows protagonist Richard Mayhew, who finds himself accidentally fallen in the dark, magical realm of London below. After helping an injured girl, named Dor, Once in this parallel world, Richard must find his way home as he defends Dora from assassins who wish her dead. Now, along this way, discovering a world invisible to those who don't take the time to acknowledge it, Neil Gaiman's fantasy adventure has been based on novels, the BBC limited series and graphic novels, but has not yet received a proper film adaptation. Consequently from this, the dark thrilling novel would be an excellent choice for Zack Snyder to adapt, as it comes from rich characters in a hyper-realistic world, with the opportunity for unique action. Zack Snyder's passion for epic tales and creating large-scale films makes him the perfect person to adapt these iconic stories. Any of these choices would be the natural fit for the director. Now, not only do they all involve pre-existing IPs, which seem to be Snyder's preference, but they all also involve a wealth of backstory and lore to history from which to pull. Zack Snyder may be a divisive filmmaker, but one can dispute the fact that his distinct types of films has his moments, but consequently from this, these stories would likely be complemented by his unique styles, and that's why they're the ones that Zack Snyder needs to adapt next. Okay, so next we are going to be doing another bonus, if we can find one. Alright. Let me find something interesting, guys. There's a lot of good stuff on Screen Rant nowadays. Now, just when you guys know, if you don't have an email subscription to Screen Rant, please sign up for Screen Rant using your email and your name, and you begin articles in the email box just like me. So I'm just letting you guys know, you know. So, alright. Alright, we're looking. There's a lot of interesting stuff, guys, just when you guys all know. Okay, now we're going to be revisiting some information about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. But this was from 7 hours ago, guys. So, from Screen Rant again, we have another bonus about Aquaman. Now, this is about Black Manta, but the Black Manta is more mature in Aquaman Lost Kingdom, says the star. Okay, so Aquaman Lost Kingdom star has opened up his return as Black Manta, and teases the more mature portrayal of his villain. Okay, so Aquaman the Lost Kingdom star has opened up his return as Black Manta, and teases the more mature portrayal of his villain. Now, he's made his DC Extended Universe debut from the first film as a ruthless pirate and high-seas mercenary who crosses the paths with the titular hero and loses his father while trying to battle Aquaman from a submarine. Having originally been hired by Orm Marius to hijack the sub the Spark and Atlantean Union to wage war on the surface, Kane has partners with the Atlantean King to hunt down Aquaman and Mera using a suit of Atlantean armor that he modified, renaming himself the Black Manta. Okay, so the first Aquaman was a smash hit upon its release. It grossed over $1.14 billion at the global box office, and it earned a generally positive review from critics and audiences alike. Now, developments on the sequel began shortly thereafter, with Momoa returning alongside all the other characters. Now, it's still going to be written, and it's still going to be co-written, and of course production of the movie began in London back in late June. Now, related to this article is DC Extended Universe every confirmed and rumored upcoming DC movie villain. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about someone else. So the actor for Black Manta had spoke after Aquaman Lost Kingdom with Variety while promoting the newly released Candyman, and looking at the difference in characterization for DC Extended Universe sequel, the Emmy winner has teased the character would be more mature and have more time to breathe. Now this time for the film itself will further explore the man behind this suit. See what he said below. So he said, "We get to understand him and some of the values and some of his motives. Hopefully from Aquaman 2, we can present a more well-rounded version of David Kane. From the first film, we sort of get to meet him, but mostly it was Black Manta. For this one, and my hope is that we can meet David Kane a bit more and find out what makes him tick. Some of these things that he wants and what he struggles with." Okay, so as exciting as this may seem, to see the iconic arch-enemy brought to life on big screens from the first film were some of a little bit of a letdown. To see Black Manta serve as a secondary antagonist in first Aquaman. Now with the first part of the plot of the original necessitating the larger focus on films and the themes of lineage and culture roots, it made sense that the Ocean Master to serve as the primary villain in the film, while Kane and Manta was the least established for sequels in future DC Extended Universe film. Though plot details surrounding the sequel are still largely unknown, he comments to prove an exciting tease that would be expected from his return in the film. Namely saying that it sounds as though he will be getting more screen time. Given how Kane and Manta has been revealed to have survived in the post-credit scene from the first film, his return in the second film should prove to be an exciting new showdown between the villain and the titular hero. It does also raise the interesting question whether they're going to have Randall Park be reprising as well as Dr. Stephen Shin, who saved Kane and nursed him back to health, for the sequel as they track down the Atlantean, as we teased in the original Aquaman. Now only time will tell when the DC Extended Universe sequel arrives, but it's supposed to hit theaters next year, December 16th, 2022. Okay guys, so that is just a little bit of some information about this bonus I wanted to share about Aquaman 2 regarding to Black Manta. Okay, I'm going to be doing one more bonus and then I'm going to close this up. Let's see. We're going to find something good, guys. We're going to find something good. There is a lot of good stuff, guys. Lots of good stuff. Alright. Now we're going to be talking about the Joker. So, how much is known about the Joker's role from the Ayer cut? Okay, so I know you guys probably said, or you guys probably remembered I said that I was going to not talk about Suicide Squad anymore, but I lied, because like I said, Suicide Squad is still very, very important to people here on the channel, so I'm going to be talking about it again. My apologies. So again, Suicide Squad's how much we know about the Joker's role from the Ayer cut. Now this was just revealed several hours ago. Okay, so those who want to know more about Joker, here I'm going to be talking about him again. So the Joker has the far more significant role from the David Ayer cut from the Suicide Squad. But some has recently leaked some script pages that have revealed a lot from his role. Content warning, there are some discussions of the acts of suicide in the depictions from Suicide Squad 2016, as well as abusive relationship. Okay, so Jared Leto portrayal of the Joker in Suicide Squad 2016 was drastically cut down, but how much is known about his role from the original cut from David Ayer? Recent social media comments made the David Ayer cut on heavy changes made to Suicide Squad. From all these people saying release the Ayer cut. Hashtag and Spike once again. Though this movie saw a major overhaul with the aftermath of polarized reception of Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. Now Leto's Joker was a hit especially hard by the changes. Full details on the extent of the Joker's role from the Ayer cut haven't been revealed, but yet some recently leaked script pages have shed some light on the matter. Ayer himself has confirmed the leaked pages are authentic. Prior to that, a few other details about Mr. J. Ayer's cut role had also been revealed by David Ayer himself, and together they had presented the Joker in a much darker front and center role compared to what we've seen before in the cinemas. Now related to this article is why Jared Leto's Joker would never have worked in Suicide Squad. Well, it's kind of simple because all we know is that he was kind of like a sideline character. He wasn't quote-unquote in the squad, but he did have his relational ties with Harley Quinn. He was a central figure to the film, similar to the role of Cyborg from Zack Snyder's Justice League. With what's been revealed so far, though, it's become increasingly undeniable that the Joker was extremely a short-changed character that's been short-lived, but with the Ayer cut campaign beginning to reach the fever pitch, it remains to be seen if this film could finally release the James Gunn Suicide Squad, which already debuted, y'all, and it already has hit records on HBO Max. But the newly revealed Joker material has undoubtedly added the huge amount of energy to push it. For the fans, mostly. Now, here's everything that's known about the Joker's role from the Suicide Squad's Ayer cut. What was previously known about the Joker's role? Okay, so Joker scenes known to exist in Ayer's cut revealed over the years include the longer version of his and Harley's nightclub scene. Okay, which culminates the Joker pushing him to suicide. Additional to this, after the Joker helicopter had crashed, during his failed attempt to extract Harley, the Joker struck the deal with the Enchantress, who had her own story change. In exchange to getting Harley back, the two rolling over Gotham City. The Joker would then return with the ash-charred face in the finale, which where the biggest known difference at this time was his role from the Suicide Squad was seen. Rather than weaving with Joker, Harley finally broke off their relationship from this final act. Some of this footage was seen in movies' Ballroom Blitz trailer, but with Joker appearing with the burned-ass face and tossing a tear gas grenade exclaiming "bye-bye," presumably to Harley, all this shows that the Joker's role was much more significant to those who might have not realized to the Suicide Squad than his role on the periphery in the theatrical version. Among others that have reported differences from the Ayer cut. Some of the deleted Joker footage would make its way into Suicide Squad's extended version, which is going to be released to home media at some point or another, but this includes the scene early in the relationship of Harley chasing Joker down by motorcycle, as he tells her that she is not part of my plan. Behind the scenes videos have seen online also shows the Joker striking Harley in the scene, and while it isn't shown or known that this is in the Ayer cut, this was likely intended to show the depths and the mental dominance he's exerted over her and setting up her finally breaking free of him. Newly revealed Joker scenes. Okay, so as fans have tried to push for the Ayer cut, ramped up and build more of a business case, the considerable amount of new Joker scenes have been revealed in recently leaked script pages. The leaks have showed the Joker to be much more volatile of a character from the original scripts, which the movie's early nightclub scene finally shown the previously known sequence of Crown Prince of Crime pushing Monster T and committed suicide. The Joker had a raid of Arkham Asylum is also shown in the script leaks, while Mr. J's callous attitude towards the rest of Task Force X is seen when Dr. Van Chris reveals deactivating her signal to Harley's neck detonator will set off the rest of the squad. Now, the Joker also shows his extremely sinister sense of humor when he's popped up in the bed next to Judge Whitman, having kidnapped the wife in order to get to Van Chris. Clearly, Arrow meant to portray the Joker as much more of the prominent and impactful person, though still heavily tattooed villain compared to his side story in the studio version. Apart from his own characterization in the Arrow script, the Joker relationship with Harley Quinn was where both of their arcs were in the movie and were impacted by the changes made from this movie. Now, related to this article is Suicide Squad, all 17 characters in New Task Force X explained. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about someone else. So now, there's more, guys, so hang in there. Newly revealed details on Joker and Harley's relationship. So the leaked script pages revealed some differences from the scene of Joker performing the electro shocks on Harley in Arkham. Mr. J stating, "Forget you ever met me," as opposed to "I'm just gonna hurt you, really, really bad." This line was heavily featured from the marketing and included the movie release version. Considering that of the latter, which was in the 2015 Comic-Con trailer, released before the changes made to the Suicide Squad, it may have still made it to Arrow's version from the film. But this is also just the beginning of how the differences in their romance from the script, which include a very different Harley from the theatrical version and Gunn's standalone sequel. Other leaked script pages show that the Joker consuming alcohol next to the corpse with a smile edged in his face. And another scene involved the Joker nude in a depressed state with Harley arriving to lift his spirits. The aforementioned scene of Harley chasing the Joker down by motorcycle also includes some very intimate contact between the two. It's possible this hybrid approach might have been settled upon the Ayers cut, but the script plants unmistakable seeds for the breakup in Mr. J's helicopter rescue of Harley. The leaks reveal that the Joker is more annoyed than thrilled at coming to Harley's rescue. This also stated maybe we should date other people before shoving Harley out of this helicopter. Their subsequent reunion in the third act also shows Harley beginning to assert herself when the Joker arrives during the Battle of the Enchantress. Once that's ended, with Harley also beginning a new romance with Deadshot, the Joker puts a gun to Harley over her defiance, but she remains undaunted. With the Joker departing after realizing she's broken up with him, his need for control doesn't dissipate. However, as another leak has shown, from the ending reveals Amanda Waller being informed that the ever-possessive Joker breaking Harley out of prison. Since the release of the Zack Snyder Justice League, the Arrow Cuts push has gained steady steam, but with the new script leaks it's become louder than ever, because people just don't know how to shut the fuck up. And though Warner Brothers has previously stated that they won't be moving ahead with it, DC Extended Universe fans are nothing if not determined, as the Snyder Cut itself was testament to the personally and testified after Leto's Joker returned from the nightmare tease from Zack Snyder Justice League, whether the David Ayer Suicide Squad appearing on HBO Max is something of a future hold. One thing that is known for sure about is that Leto's portrayal of the Joker made far more of an impact in the Ayers version of the Suicide Squad. Okay. So there you go, guys. That is just a little bit of some information about some secrets that were held by about the Joker's role from the Arrow Cut. And so, again, guys, I hope you had enjoyed all the bonuses from this content. We are going almost into 35 minutes. And so I'm just kind of chilling right now. I'm also currently simultaneously watching the Looney Tunes on mute, so that I'm not breaking copyright law. And so yeah, anyway, I'm hoping that you guys had enjoyed all my content. I'm probably going to be doing another video maybe. Not sure yet. Have to decide still. But again, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening, and I probably might do another one later. Bye.